Hey everybody, what's up? Brittney Griner. There has been another setback in her case. So I'm just going to run this really quick and make sure y'all come through later on this afternoon. We're going to be revisiting the Lacerta interview. I've already scheduled it, so I'll see you guys, later on today or whatnot. But Brittney Griner, a basketball star, Brittney Griner, who has been held in Russia for the last 118 days. Her detention was extended for a third time by Russian authorities. This is according to state-run media TASS. Hey, Patricia. So you may have noticed, and we kind of talked about this the last time when I covered this. You all may have noticed there's been an increase in a prisoner swap type requests, so to speak. Now, we had a prisoner swap earlier this year for one American that had been held in Russian prison for years. And as you all know, Brittney Griner is being accused of taking or bringing hash oil, or cannabis oil, I should say, into Russia. She was traveling back to Russia to play basketball. She had been playing basketball in Russia for the past 7 years. Now, there is a man that not only you may hear people talking about it, but the truth is this kind of came from Russia. Now, you'll notice that Russia uses TASS, their state-run agency, to sort of talk for them, right? And basically, it was announced a while back that they wanted a man named Victor Bout, also known as the Merchant of Death, notorious arms dealer. He was flying entire fleets of planes. All right, entire fleets. And of course, Vladimir Putin isn't going to come out himself and say that he wants Victor Bout to be swapped for Brittney Griner. But this isn't the first time that we've heard Russia request Victor Bout in a prisoner swap. Will it happen? I think it's worth it, United States. I do think it's worth it. You've had Victor Bout in custody for quite a while now. You've gotten whatever you were going to get out of him at this point. And if you didn't get it out of him, forget it. But I do think it would be a good solid trade. I don't know. It gets very complicated, right? But it's good that Griner's supporters are flat out talking about it now. Now, head coach of Griner's U.S. team, the Phoenix Mercury, actually, her entire WNBA, hold on, who was it? There was a couple of people, hold that thought, I've got it right here. There's been quite a lot of people in Brittney Griner's corner trying to work with the United States government, State Department, to try to get her returned back. But listen, the latest one was actually Roy Jones Jr. I didn't know he was a dual United States Russian citizen. That's kind of weird. Yes, Victor the arms dealer, Nurse Armstrong. Yes, Victor the arms dealer. Yep. So, the truth is people get traded all the time. Prisoner swaps happen all the time. And we all know that prison in Russia is not a very kind thing. Medical, there's so much. They don't care. All right. They don't care if you die in prison. You could be sick for week upon week upon week. You'll be lucky if you see the doctor type stuff. It's crazy. but they've sort of been touting this Victor Bout guy. Y'all know United States and Russian relations are at a historic low. It's almost as cold as it was during the Cold War, right? And of course, the war has started next door with Ukraine. Vladimir Putin has made no secret about the fact that he wants the old Soviet Republic back together again, which would include other land masses besides Ukraine, right? A deal to free Brittney Griner would be a very complicated deal, but I think it's one worth exploring, and I really hope that United States, State Department and all that. This is all the way up to Biden. Biden's aware, and I still think to this day, it's just quite odd that Brittney was stopped during that time at that airport like that. It's really messed up. There is still 2 other Americans, aside from Brittney, that are still in Russia. And I don't know if you all heard the news in the last, 2, 3, 4 days or so. There are 2 Americans that decided they'd travel over to that part of the world and fight for Ukraine. And they have now went missing. And it is suspected that Russia's holding them. But hey, Victor Bout was convicted of espionage back in 2020, and he was sentenced to 16 years in prison. And long before he was listed as a potential trade candidate for Brittney Griner, his name had actually come up in reference to Paul Whelan, a former U.S. Marine who was convicted of espionage in 2020. Now, so Paul Whelan was convicted in 2020, 16 years. Sorry, my bad. Victor Bout convicted in 2012 to serve 25 years for conspiring to sell weapons to people he believed represented Colombia's FARC rebels. But they were actually DEA agents. He had been an international arms trafficking dealer for many years. Let's see, what is it, 2022 now? It's been 10 years. Paul Whelan's family had been hoping that Paul Whelan would have been part of a deal for Konstantin Yaroshenko, another Russian citizen that was sentenced in 2011 to 20 years in prison for conspiracy to smuggle cocaine to the United States. Instead, Yaroshenko was traded in April for Trevor Reed, another American former Marine, who was 2 years into a 9-year sentence. They accused him of assaulting 2 police officers. And he's been very vocal about how horrible the conditions of prison are in Russia. I think one of the main things people are very concerned about is the fact that Brittney is black and gay. Russia actually has anti-gay laws on the books. You are not going to walk around Russia not like they do here in America. Not like that. So yeah, extended for the 3rd time. July is the official target date, but who knows, y'all. Again, y'all try to use that hashtag Free Brittney Griner. And hopefully it'll, help continue to bring attention to this, because it's crazy how things get slowed down and muddied up when the United States government starts touching stuff. But she has been there for 4 months now. She is facing 10 years in prison. I wouldn't want to do 10 years in a Russian prison either. Seriously, though. Now, Roy Jones, just really quick. Roy Jones Jr., who, gosh, I didn't even realize he was a dual United States Russian citizen. He is coming out and saying that he's been working behind the scenes to try to free Brittney Griner. But I think it's much higher than him. He has said that he's even willing to travel to Moscow to escort Brittney Griner home. This is what he said, quote, "Would I put my life on the line? Take a chance to go to Russia to exchange prisoners? Yes, I would. Because if Brittney was my daughter, I would want someone to do the same thing for me." Now, Roy Jones was actually born in Florida. He became a Russian citizen back in 2015 with the help of Vladimir Putin. He said he had a few friends. He called and asked if there was any way that he could try to help facilitate Brittney's release. Even a prisoner, just, is there anything that he could essentially do, right? Asked could he use his sports influence to possibly get anything arranged to help Brittney get home. This is what Roy said. Quote, "Prisoner exchange," end quote. He said, "My friend called and he called me back and he said, yes, they said they'd be willing to do a prisoner exchange." Well, it's probably rough because the prisoner exchange is probably a real prisoner. She's not necessarily a prisoner that's a real prisoner, but I'm sure that maybe the U.S. will be understanding of this and get her back home, because I'd be terrified if my kid was stuck in a foreign country in jail. Listen, he's not a professional speaker like that and all that. I get it. But the words, prisoner exchange. So I do think that's what Russia wants. So we'll see. God only knows what they're telling the State Department, right? But it's nice that Roy has offered to help. But Brittney's family doesn't care. They just want her to come home. If Roy can help, his assistance would be more than welcome, I'm sure. But we'll keep monitoring this story. Listen, guys, I'm out of here. I'll be back, like I said, in about 30 minutes or so. And we're going to go a little bit, we're going to actually replay the Lacerta interview with a reptilian woman. I didn't ask you if you believed in it or not. I'm just gonna let it play. You take from it what you will. If you all have not had an opportunity, check out the YouTube channel Earth Files. Oh, talk about feeding your brain. Some very interesting things kind of came out from Linda Moulton Howe's broadcast last night about 3 ships that are currently involved in interstellar space travel, and that they actually have a mission to document 22 different star systems here within the Milky Way galaxy. Is it possible that we really have 3 ships currently doing reconnaissance on other planets? One of the very interesting things that also came out, we keep hearing about all these different species of humanoids coming from different star systems, right? Sirius A and B, Epsilon, or what is it, Eridani A, Zeti Reticuli, where the Ebens supposedly originally sourced from. Man, listen, I didn't ask you if you believed it. All right? It's okay to sometimes just let your mind wander sometimes, right? But what if there are other humanoid type species of biological organisms like us living on other planets? I'm going to show you a map when I come back. This is one Linda Moulton Howe's been showing quite a lot on her broadcast, and Apparently, there's even a water-based humanoid in one planet. In the Zeti Reticuli star system, there's actually 2 suns. I mean, it's fascinating stuff. Fascinating. The tall whites, the Nordics. These are all different species of humanoid. Is it possible? Oh, that's my cue. I'll be back, guys. Hey, old school Patricia, I'll be back on here in a few minutes. I absolutely love that stuff too. And I'm going to drop a link in my next slide for Earth Files. She even had the ability, she actually named the 3 ships. So they are actually on missions. You all do remember that we just created a 6th branch of the military officially. So you got your Marines, your Army, your Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and now the U.S. Space Force. It's official. Lots of secret programs going on, right? I'll be back, y'all.